So my family's always saving interesting pieces of wood that they find on the property. This particular piece came from an old lilac bush. There was a dead portion of it. And I had a handle that broke on a tool, so I figured, you know what, let me drill a hole through it. This way I can run a bolt through it and use it as a new handle and see how it comes out. And we widened one end so that the bolt head would kind of slip in and hold in place as I tightened it up. And this isn't going to be anything fancy done on a lathe or anything like that. This is just going to be free form, kind of just to bring out the grain and see what lilac wood actually looks like when it's finished. So what I'm doing here, I'm just taking a little bit off, going all the way around the block, just to trim it down a little bit before sanding. And I managed to keep all my fingers, chiseling off bits of the excess. And you can see you're starting to get some nice color, some nice grain that we can see that'll come out in the sanding process. And this is just a simple belt sander that I picked up at Harbor Freight years ago for under $100, and she's still doing a good job. And this is going to be a little bit of a free form kind of look. I'm not making her perfectly round. I'm not doing some sort of fancy grip. I just basically wanted to bring out the wood, see what this grain looks like, see how it finishes. And at the same time, the tool that I'm fixing isn't a fancy tool. It isn't a beautiful tool you see later on, but I just like restoring and fixing things versus tossing them into the dumpster. So I spent quite a bit of time sanding just to kind of get more of a rounded shape and to get a little bit more of a better feel as to what we might end up like. And you can start to see how you have different coloration within the wood and how the grain is running in there. And this is a tool, just a stupid tape gun. And I could probably buy another one for $8, but there's something nice about fixing something versus just tossing it into the dumpster and letting it become part of the landfill. And at the same time, this piece of wood was just sitting in the shop doing nothing. Interesting thing about lilacs, if you're ever trying to figure out where the old outhouse was on an old property, if you could find old lilac bushes, they were very often planted near the old outhouse so as to mask the smell. Even though they were only going to flower for a short period of time, during that period of time it would cover the stench. So what I'm doing here, I'm just removing that little bit of excess plastic on the end so that I have a flat surface that I can mount my handle to. So yeah, just a little bit more with the belt sander. You can't hold it there for too long. The plastic will just heat up and melt on you, but little bit by little bit, you're able to bring that down to something that's flush and workable. Okay, so we're done sanding. And you can see we got a nice flush surface that we can mount that handle onto. And here's the handle before mounting and finishing, and you can see we got it pretty much curved. There was a little chunk out of it that was just the shape of the wood, but it kind of fits nicely in my fingers there. So I don't really have a problem with that. And you can see we have some nice grain. And if you wait to see how it actually finishes off, we're just going to use a simple lemon oil. It really brings that wood to life. Like, it really surprised me. And just look at how that grain pops with the lemon oil. I mean, I did not expect it to come out so pretty. I was really surprised. Really, really quite happy at looking at this. So the truth of the matter is, in the end, we saved a tool that we could have bought for just another $8, but I think the hour and a half put into this was worth it. I just kind of like saving something and adding my own little touch to it. as it were. So I just inserted the handle, twisted it so that that indent would work well as a grip, tightened her down. You have to be careful with this sort of thing. If you tighten her down too much, that bolt will actually start to pull into the handle and split the handle open, and it already had a couple of cracks. So I got her to a point where she was snug, not going anywhere. I just didn't put the hammer down on it. But overall, I was pretty happy with this. So leave your comment. Was it worth taking the time to do this? If you think so, or even if you don't think so, feel free to leave a comment and like and subscribe. We appreciate you spending a little bit of time on our channel. Have a great day.